very well. And the story goes, because obviously I was there. The story goes that there was an altercation. Let me see which mic. 1, 2. There was an altercation between Paul and Shields at some point. This altercation leads to Shields uttering these words. I don't know what word, if you know the words that he said to Paul, that made him then flip the switch.
Yeah, interesting one. I think it was one of those happy Wednesdays, and Paul was in his sort of altered state of consciousness, and Mr. Shields found him in his hostel room, and he came to Paul and said, "Young man, you will amount to nothing in life. You are worthless. You are on this journey that you're on with your drugs and whatever it is that you were doing, and you will become nothing." In that moment, it flipped a switch for Paul, who happened to have an okapi that he flicked, and he chased Mr. Shields down the passage of the hostel.
Wait, just slow down first. We need to process what you're saying. I don't want you to move too fast, right? So this okapi was always readily available, is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay, now I'll proceed.
And not only Paul, there were a few of us others who carried them as well, because we believed that we needed to protect ourselves from what, I don't know.
A crew of okapi carriers, okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Shields ran down the passage because his hostel house was attached to the hostel, and he ran through his door and closed the door. Immediately, I think Paul realized that he had come up against the fence. So Paul then started packing.
So Paul then decided, no, I'll pack my bags, I'm leaving, because now after chasing this teacher, there's no way then I'm going to remain in the school.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then what happens? He packs, then?
At the time, Paul was going through a dilemma because he's now going to go and explain to Dad.
His father, who is an Adventist.
100%.
And you guys are aware, you okapi carrying crew is aware he's an Adventist.
100%.
Okay. What happens then? Where does he, when he leaves the school, where does he go next?
Well, to his common place of comfort, which was normally in the park, across from the school, to engage in more activity to keep him happy.
As I understand it, he goes to also, to get the stuff which he needs to be happy with, he has to first go to, is it a brother-in-law or older brother, his brother-in-law? And he says, just give me 5 rand. That was a lot of money back then. Yeah.
I think brother-in-law was Ashley, if I remember. Yes. Yes, to go and top up.
Yes.
Yes. So he went to Ashley to go and top up. And, yeah.
And then what does he proceed to do at that point? After when he's nicely topped up?
I don't remember the specific detail, and maybe Paul will fill it in for me. But I do believe that at some stage he had to go and address this with Mum. And share with Mum that, guess what, Mum, I think I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Now, when you're watching all of this, you as your crew who's remaining behind, now the Adventist has gone somewhere, you guys are staying, you no longer have a friend, you're down one crew member. What is going through your minds? What is the impact of this experience on you?
Well, initially we saw him as a martyr and a hero. Yeah. And this is the guy who took the teacher on, chased him with a knife, and guess what? You know, Mr. Shields is not as invincible as he is. Yes. Or seem to be. But at the same time, we also had the sobering thought that if we were caught in a similar environment, what would the repercussions be back home? So there was this balance that we had to maintain.
Where reality then sets in and you say, this was fun to watch, but we're learning something here, and that is that we can't be in this situation, because what Paul now needs to deal with is something else altogether.
Absolutely.
And did that incident ever say to you, did you ever look at Paul and say, indeed, he is a writer?
Lots of people thought so. Lots of people thought so. And I, maybe, and to confess, maybe at some time I even considered that, guess what, this guy is going nowhere.
Yeah. But you don't think that now?
We're close business associates, and there we are.
Amen. What does the church say? Amen. May we